Hey everyone, and thanks for checking out this video, which is all about hornpipes and how to play them on your bodhran. Now, I'm Rory, I'm a percussionist and composer, and this is the fourth episode in my How to Play Bodhran series. I've done an episode on the basics, I've done an episode on jigs and on reels, and today is all about hornpipes. For hornpipes, we need to have a little bit more of a subtle sound. They're quite a chilled out style of dance. So we're going to explore that through this video, but I'm also going to give you three really simple, really effective hornpipe patterns that you can play, I would say, to almost any hornpipe. So today, all about hornpipes. Grab your bodhran and let's get going. So a hornpipe is a traditional form of dance that we see in English music, Scottish music, and in Irish. Now, it's thought to have originated in the north of England during the 16th and 17th centuries. And there's a particular nautical kind of affiliation with hornpipes. They're thought to have been developed and used by sailors on the old sailboats. Now, hornpipe has 4 beats that go round and round and round, but we don't play them square like we do with the reel. We have a particular bouncy kind of swung feel to the hornpipe. So we're going to be looking at that through the different patterns that I'm going to be showing you today. But important for us to clock that now. The hornpipe is not a square sort of dance. It's got a particular lilting, bouncing feel to it. Now, the other really important thing about hornpipes is that they are a dance. Hornpipes are to be danced to. Now, usually slower speed hornpipes are actually danced by more experienced dancers because in the gaps between the beats, they can fit in more elaborate, complicated steps. So less experienced dancers would usually dance to a faster hornpipe, which, whilst more difficult to play for us musicians, is actually easier for the dancers because they don't have to fit as many steps in. Additionally, when the beats are slower, the dancers need to jump higher and get more air to land on the beat, whereas on the faster tunes, you don't have to jump as high, and it's just overall a lot easier for the dancers. So the first thing that we're going to have a look at today is this lilting, bouncing feel that we need to embody and get really familiar with whilst we're playing the hornpipe. Now, if you remember this movement that we make with our hand when we were playing that basic playing stroke in my first tutorial, or even the reels in my second tutorial, with the hornpipe we can use this kind of movement as if we're trying to get like something horrible off our hand. We're trying to flick our hand. This kind of movement is how we're going to start to look at this hornpipe pattern. So by just shaking your hand like this, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And this is a really great way to start working on the hornpipe pattern. Now don't forget, it's almost like a heavy downstroke and a lazy upstroke. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So get that going first. That will really help as we work on the feel of these different dance patterns that we're going to look at in hornpipes. So by just taking that movement that I showed you with your hand and putting that onto your bodhran, sounds like this. And this is a really, really good starting place for just getting the foundations of this hornpipe feel. So putting that into the tipper, grab your tipper, exactly the same thing. So it's really about having that heavy downstroke and lazy upstroke. Down, down, down. And if any of you like listening to jazz or even playing jazz, you'll be familiar with this. It's almost like a swing feel. And if you're familiar with musical notation, it's just like playing a series of dotted quavers followed by a semiquaver. Now, whilst we're playing hornpipes, it's worth clocking that hornpipes generally are quite chilled out, relaxed tunes. So we want to reflect that in the sound that we're making on the bodhran as well. So think about the movement being really chilled, really groovy. Imagine you're at a cool jazz club, just kind of rocking out, enjoying the vibes. And allow that feel to translate onto the bodhran, and it will actually affect the sound that you're making. Now, it's well worth practicing this basic hornpipe pattern with a metronome. So get your metronome to, let's say, 100 BPM. And practice that, really embodying that feel of the heavy down and the lazy up, and get really, really comfortable with that. So next up, we're going to see if we can apply that simple hornpipe pattern to some real musical examples. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now at the moment, I'm just keeping my hand in the bass position on the back of my bodhran whilst I'm playing. Just whilst we're getting used to the physicality of the right hand moving in that jumping, kind of lilting hornpipe feel, it's a good idea to just keep that left hand or tonal hand inside the drum still whilst you're getting used to the movement in the right hand. But once you are comfortable with that, you can start to move your hand inside the drum. So for this one, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to start with our hand in the open position. 1, 2, 3. By the time we get to beat 3, we're going to move our hand inside the drum to the bass sound. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then back to the open sound by the time we get back to beat number 1 of the second round of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can try that with the music again and see what it sounds like in context. So the second hornpipe pattern I'm going to show you today is like a variation on that first pattern, which is just laying down that bouncing hornpipe rhythm. And it goes like this. Down, down, up, down, down, up. That's the first 4 beats. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and down, down, up, down, down, up, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Get really comfortable with that, making sure that you keep each of the beats really regular, really, really nice and steady. So that's the first round of 4, and then the second round of 4. So it's similar, the first 2 beats are the same as the first 2 beats in the first round of 4, but the third beat and the fourth beat go. So I'm adding in a down, down, up, down. We've got a triplet on the fourth beat here. So the second round of 4 goes down, down, up, down, triplet. And for the triplets, I'm using the same sticking that I use for galloping in my jig video. or galloping indeed in my real video as well. Down, up, down. And then we have a double down to bring us back to the beginning of this pattern. So it'll go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. So now thinking about the sounds that we can use for this hornpipe pattern. On the first beat, we're going to have it on an open sound. Second beat, on a bass sound. Third beat, on an open sound. Fourth beat, on a bass sound. So let's just practice those first 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just going from open to bass, it gives it a little bit more gravity, a little bit more groove, a little bit more space. Has that nice lilting hornpipe feel. And then for the second round of 4, we're going to keep it similar. So you should start to feel, the more you practice this one, that the left hand becomes quite automated. We're not sort of doing anything too flashy with that left hand inside the drum. We're just moving from open to bass, open to bass. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So really worth practicing this with the metronome, of course, and as well then with some real musical examples. 1, 2, 3, 4. This groove is especially cool for slower, steadier kind of hornpipes, maybe where they're doing really complicated dances and we're just there in the background with the other musicians, keeping it really strong, really steady, really stable. So the third and final hornpipe pattern that I'm going to give you today is one that you can use with slightly faster hornpipes, where it's difficult to get all of those strokes in whilst keeping the groove and keeping the time. So this one is for those faster hornpipes. And we have 2 rounds of 4, like we have in our second hornpipe pattern that I've just shown you. And it goes like this. So I'm using the bass sound, the open sound, and the pop sound that we looked at in one of my previous tutorials, which I'll link up there or down in the description. But for the moment, we're just going to start with the right hand. So it goes down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, down. So that is the sticking pattern. 2 rounds of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at the moment, just playing them all in the bass sound, so it feels and sounds maybe a little bit dull, but just get that really solid and really steady first. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down, down. Of course, do practice it with the metronome as well, just to make sure that you've got that sticking in the right hand really solid. And we're going to bring in the different sounds now. So open on beat number 1, moving down for beat number 2 to a bass sound, beat number 3, pop, moving up to the open sound, beat number 1 of the second round of 4 in the open, beat number 2, open, pop. So all together. So practice it really slowly first, but then of course this is one to play with a slightly quicker hornpipe. So let's get the metronome on and put it to say 110 BPM. So once you've practiced and played along with the metronome, it's a really good idea to find some hornpipes to play along to and put all of these hornpipe patterns into context. So I've got a Spotify playlist where I feature all of the tracks that I use in my videos, and I'll link that in the description down below in case anyone wants to use that. But for the moment, we're going to take this third pattern, which is quite an upbeat hornpipe groove. We're going to put it into context and play along with some music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I really hope that you found this video helpful for playing hornpipes on your bodhran, and that you have 3 really effective, really simple grooves that you can go and play along with almost any hornpipe in a traditional Irish music setting or any other setting where hornpipes are played. Now, if you like these bodhran videos, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave me a comment down below, say hello, or with any requests that you have for any of my future videos in this series. Thanks for checking out my video and looking forward to seeing you next time around. All the very best. Bye now.